Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Carcassonne. So, we did the Inns and Cathedrals expansion last time. Let's look at the Traders and Builders expansion. You earn resources in order to become the best possible trader. For a score boost, you use your builder to play more often than your opponents, and the pig to fatten your field's yield. So it's really feels like with some of these expansions going forward, the Carcassonne game changes extremely dramatically. And probably for the better. There is just a slight danger of using potentially multiple expansions together. I bet there isn't really that many people that would play every single expansion together because it just becomes convoluted at that point. So traders and builders expand the world of Carcassonne, however you're going to pronounce it, over offering more tiles and gameplay options that greatly increase the strategy and depth of the game. That is exactly word for word what they said about the previous expansion. New scoring opportunities present themselves as a trader and the use of 2 new meeples. So, you now have this builder meeple that the shape does not really strike me as being a person at all, let alone a builder. And at least when you had the abbot shape, it kind of looked like a shape that would make sense to represent an abbot. I don't see how a builder is represented this way. Well, like I have no idea what this is even supposed to represent. Builder is working with a builder is twice as fast as working alone. Use him to play more tiles than your opponents. And then you have a pig piece, which looks like a pig, although oddly a pig with no tail. Clearly, these plastic pieces are not designed with any level of detail in them, and they're probably made extremely cheaply in the real world version. The pig city folks love pigs. Use this meeple to boost your field score. Rules: each player receives both a builder and a pig in addition to the regular meeple stockpile. The builder can be added to either a city or a road already controlled by the player. After that, expanding this feature will allow the player to play a double turn, which means theoretically you could put it down very early and should put it down very early to get like a really long road. The double turn allows the player to pick a new tile and play it normally. Keep in mind you cannot chain multiple double turns. That would probably be a nightmare if you could. Note that you can reclaim the builder by closing the feature it is on and still get the double turn. This allows you to place him if you meet the prerequisite during your double turn. The builder does not count as a meeple when resolving disputed features, though. The pig can only be placed in a field which already bears one of your meeple. The pig does not count as a meeple when resolving disputed features, or I guess fields, really. The pig will add 1 point for each adjacent completed city if you are the owner of that field. In case of a tied ownership of ownership, the pig's bonus still counts. New city tiles now feature goods: wine, cloth, and grain. Each type of goods will earn points to the player who owns the most of that type of goods at the end of the game. In the case of a tie, all tied players earn the points. And then you earn goods by closing the city which contains them. You don't need to have any meeple in the city in order to earn the goods. You just need to close it. Closing the city will earn you all of its goods, which makes certain cities and certain tiles different than other tiles. Let's play the tutorial, although do we really need to play the tutorial? Welcome to Traders and Builders tutorial. This tutorial will explain the new features included in this expansion. As you can see, we've already set up the board to speed things up. Allow me to introduce the builder meeple. Again, the camera angle they chose here is a mistake. It really is too high. You can barely even see this piece compared to this piece. Like, very easy, particularly when you're zoomed out, to not be able to tell a difference there. What would have made more sense is have something that just is a big circle with a hole in it, or something shaped like that, to know the difference. Although I guess in the real world, you can move your head to see what pieces are where. And we can see they are just using tags in the cities to indicate the resources. The builder has the power of earning you a double turn if you expand the feature it's on. Let's do that now. So we put a piece here, and then click OK. Place this tile normally in this case, place a meeple in the city. Okay. Then you get a double turn. Congratulations, expanding this feature with the builder on it allows you to play a double turn. Double turn allows you to play in one extra tile. It will not allow you to chain multiple extra turns. So, our only option here is to put this down. But that still is worth it. One important detail about the builder is that it does not count as a meeple when resolving disputed features. So you might get all kinds of double turns and then lose control of the road fairly easily. Let's close the road and get that meeple back. Okay. That gives us 5. As you can see, you can still earn a double turn when closing a feature, bearing the builder. You can also play the builder during a double team turn. So let's place a tile here. So you click on that. And then time to add your builder to the city. So click on this and do that. Instead of potentially putting the pig on the farm or a meeple on the field. Placing a builder on a tile will not earn a double turn. The builder needs to be on the feature at the start of the turn for this to work. Good to know. Although I think that'd feel fairly obvious. And at a certain level, now that you start to see these resources, it's gonna make it feel like all the city tiles should potentially have these resources, and it's really gonna become kind of a bit of a rarity. We have the sound effects turned down. It's now time to talk about goods located in the city, on the city tiles. There are 3 types of goods. There is wine, grain, and cloth. It's funny, it has a timer here before you can click forward. Which, I don't know if there's a specific reason why you would go with just wine. Because it could have been just any alcohol, or it could have just been water. You could have definitely kept it a little bit more kid-friendly by saying water instead of wine as a resource. It's a little weird for wine to be in barrels for long periods of time. They usually would go in glass bottles, but I guess that establishes that the world of Carcassonne is set in a pre-glass society, where glass may very well have existed, certainly, but isn't being used for bottling. As you have seen, a city can hold multiple goods at the same time. Time to earn yourself some goods. Close the opponent's city to earn the goods. See, this is weird because I'm playing as red again. So the tutorials have jumped me between playing as red and as blue several times. Seems fairly silly. See, now you have this whole secondary resource, which I don't know how in the real world the game would work for scoring that. If, like, I wouldn't think that these would be stickers that just peel off, or that these would be random, like, so there would have to be some new piece that would be handed to the player to act as a counter. Otherwise it'd be very easy to confuse the scoring, or you'd have to do the scoring at the end of the game. I don't think the real world game either gives you like little blue flags or anything either. There is an idea certainly here that some counters or indicators to show the flow of game, even in the real world version of Carcassonne, could be helpful. Just extra tiles potentially that could be used as scoring pieces would be my first thought. But yeah, the idea of Carcassonne, I think, is to make it be a relatively small board game compared to something like a Monopoly board game that's fairly large. But as it gets more complicated with the expansions, you need more scorekeeping elements. At the end of the game, the player holding the most of each good types will score. Each goods type will score 10 points. In case of a tie, all tied players earn 10 points. So that's a massive benefit in most scenarios. So keep in mind you don't need all the goods, just more than your opponents to score. Last lesson, let's talk about the pig meeple. The pig can only be placed in a field you own. Pig is only used at the end of the game during the field's score count. The pig will add 1 point per city for each field, but only if you score that field. Add a tile here and play the pig in the field. It's funny that the meeple is lying down, but the pig is upright. One important detail about the pig is that it doesn't count as a meeple when resolving disputed features, which arguably should say then the builder should not be a builder in a human form since it doesn't count as a meeple. Instead, the builder should be a hammer, which would make a lot of sense to have a piece that looked like a hammer instead of whatever this is supposed to be. Like, a ton of sense. This is the end of the tutorial. Try and win this game with the remaining tiles. Alright, so just play. So, zoom out a little bit. Remember that I am red. Opt for, I think we just have the builder in our possession, so what I think I want to do is probably something like this, and then don't have the builder, do we? Just put that down. There are only 6 cards, so we're probably not going to do anything too interesting. Looks like you got a tile with the bridge. Bridge allows 2 roads to intersect without ending. Interesting. Even though both roads continue, the fields are still interrupted by both roads and bridge. So the bridge, I assume, is not interconnecting, though. That would be my thought here. So I'm going to do this. Yeah, it really feels like there's a big difference there still. Between just a 4-way piece. I'm not getting anywhere with this field. I don't see any way I could really catch this field and own it. Do anything too special there. Alright. 3. Interesting, there's no break here. But also, kind of an unlikely chance that this city would end. Meanwhile, he's gonna get cities all over the place. So 5 to 26, I'd have to get incredibly lucky for this to somehow end up in my advantage. Oh yeah, and I played terribly, didn't I? Because I totally forgot about the builder. And yet, it seems like just having all the resources is the only thing that really matters. Yeah. If I hadn't owned each of the goods and gotten 30, I would have totally lost. It's weird that you can move the mouse wheel and zoom in and out when you're not on that screen. I have to chalk that up to bad programming. Alright, so let's play for real. Turn off everything previously and play a 6 game for traders and builders. And we'll be interested in seeing how we start with, 96 tiles. Okay, put one here. You almost wish there was a gate. Like something that would connect a city and a road. But apparently I cannot put a builder. Why can I not put a builder here? Can builders only be on roads? Then why can't I put it on the road? Okay, next. Put that there. Put that there. Like oddly, I think you are kind of nicely in a position where you should just do this. Take that return. I'm confused here, certainly, as to what is going on with the builder. Connect and control, or don't connect and control. I think you want that. And finally, apparently I can put a builder on, but apparently you had to own it, at least in part, first, before you could put a builder on, which makes it a more complicated card to play. than I would think. Or at least I thought originally. This is going to turn into a nightmare as a strategy. If we play this, this should give us a double turn. And let's go ahead and just put that down and claim this field. That should give me a double turn. And options are not high. Do this for a city. We could do this for a city. That's probably the better move. You're definitely gonna have a lot of people playing with a lot of people here. Let's see. Place that in that position. I believe that's probably what I'm looking to do. But why am I looking to do that? I don't know. Would make more sense to play that first. Certainly. Then we'll put the pig down, so at least we can get some value out of it. I guess there's an interesting question to ask. Is this technically a city? Does this count as a city against that? I don't know. I would kind of think maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Well, might as well put a meeple here. Apparently I've unlocked the achievement Metropolis by doing that, building such a giant large city. It gets me a double turn also that I can play. I think here is kind of a perfect place to play it. And I guess the question is, do I want to play for another big city over here? Or do I want to get some score here? I think I want to always have the opportunities for big city double plays. Or long road double plays. Which obviously I haven't been really playing much towards long roads. Nobody else gets a double turn when I play, which is another thing to certainly take notice of. Would it be better if I did this? Nope. Do that. Put that there. And I guess you continue with that. And I don't know if there's even a value in doing another road, but you probably should always play your meeples. The only way you could really waste them is if you just tried to claim a bunch of farmland. And put 3 or 4 meeples claiming small farmland sections. Of course, with 6 players, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get like all the resources. And it's weird that you have to click and then click to get to the resources. Okay. Is there a value that I can gain? I think oddly your best value is to put it here. Put it there. I mean, is that the best place to put it, though? Or would it be better to put it here? Nope. It'd probably be better to just put it there. No, that doesn't do anything for you either. Could I gain something if I put it here? I think that I can. Yeah, actually, I think I could potentially do that and then put a farmer here and claim a much larger farming section. You really need this assistive visuals if you are going to play farms. Of course, now this is shared by blue and pink. I find it a little odd that this is all about the tiles. Like, clearly they are the focus of the game. And yet, compared to something like a collectible card game, the tiles aren't that special. It almost feels like there should be some narrative story for each tile or a character for each tile, but the way the game is designed and the way it is effectively just a road city sim manager game doesn't leave room for anything like that. Does anybody own this? This would be an unfinished city anyways. That would be an unfinished city anyways. So I think I'll just be a spoiler and put it there. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how you would give more personality in descriptions and backstory to the tile sets as they are. Compare it even to Monopoly though. Like, each square you land on Monopoly, there's a name to that square. It's based off of some real world location. There's backstory of some sort, or at least it's very recognizable. Park Place, like you say Park Place, people know what Park Place is. If I had to describe a single tile in Carcassonne, I'd be like the T-piece, or the three-way road, or the bridge, or the end cap of the city. Yeah. So it feels like if I was going to remaster and remake a board game, my first step definitely would be in the line of making it every single tile a name for something. You don't get double points when you have 2 pieces, but I did recover my pieces from that, so that was a good move. Like, you could call that this one the narrow street. You could call the Abbey easily. You don't have to make any special change there. Do I have a piece anywhere which it would make sense to try something? I'll put one here. Nope, wait. I'll put it here. You could have one certainly called the marketplace. You could have one certainly called the chapel. You could have one called the crooked pass, or the narrow bend, or the wide bend, or the wavy bend. See, this tile in particular that is wavy compared to this one that's smooth is basically the same tile anyways, except for the smooth one has an edge here and this one has the flowers as an element. Let's see. Are we looking for something more? There's just not going to be enough cards. You should look here and see if we could connect the city somehow to a wider section. If I did this and then placed one here and then thought about putting something here, I might be able to win that field and not have it be tied. And if each tile did kind of have a canonical name, like, then there is potentially even some backstory you could add to each location. Alright, we have one tile left to play. It's here. And we rotate it that way. Place. And I guess that means we can own this little field. We might as well. So this is all going to come down to scoring. I'm at 60, which means I'm tied for second place. Right. Then we're going to go for a long unfinished road, I guess, here. Would make probably the most amount of sense. Although this might make more sense here. And I'm not even going to bother to check to see if there was a better place to put it. I've unlocked Ultimate Trader as an achievement, which probably means I have the most resources of everybody. Either that or I've just played the game once. It would be a little upsetting if I just unlocked the achievement for winning one of these games, because then that would have spoiled the surprise. So if we can maintain my lead, which there is a decent shot at that, I may have actually won, finally, against all 6 players. Which, fair enough, this is probably about the 6th time I've played a game, so if I win 1/6 of the time against 6 AI, then that's fairly balanced. It would be boring if I could get a guaranteed win every single time. So I got the most of all the resources, which puts me over 100 too. 150, 127. It actually is getting, like, it's not going up as much as I thought it would. Yeah, if we're getting 130 here, then 260 would be about right there, which would mean to get all the way off the edge of the screen, you'd have to get something like 500. And that just doesn't seem like that's probably doable. Alright. We won. And we've unlocked your wizard for going over 120. I wish these were Steam achievements and not just in-app achievements. You know, there was a hope for cross achievements between Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. There was some hope of that when there was talk of crossplay being a thing, and even crossplay isn't a guaranteed thing at this point for most games, or for all games. But yeah, back in the days when achievements were definitely a big thing and people were obsessed about them, or at least back when I was obsessed with them back in the days of the Xbox 360, it would have been very nice to take I had somewhere around 60 to 80,000 gamer score on the Xbox 360. If I could have taken all of those achievements and then combined them to the Steam achievements system, I would probably still be obsessed with achievements. So they probably did me a favor, frankly, by not integrating that. But they're really not doing me much of a favor here by having in-app achievements that would be cross-platform for the cell phone version versus the Steam version, but then don't unlock anything on Steam. Not that achievements ever meant anything on Steam anyways. So as far as roads, I was pretty low on roads, absolutely tied for 0 as far as monasteries, but I made a ton of points on cities, building that one big city, but that pointage also had to be shared with quite a lot of other people. But then you get the boost of 30. Had I not gotten these goods, then I would have only been at 100. And it's very possible somebody else would have gotten 2 of the goods and won. If these 2 had gotten 20, they would have been at 108, 107, so they would have potentially won. If this guy had gotten all 30 for the goods and I was at 100, he would have won. The only people that couldn't have not succeeded would have been the AI focused, which it definitely feels like AI focused does not do too well with this expansion. And then I did the best with the fields. That is a big city we built with another big city by the side of it. And the board is fairly large. Certainly. Also, 90 tiles. 96 tiles apparently on the table here. Yeah. Let's see. 10 times 10 would be 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 this way, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 this way. Yep. It would be kind of cool if you could make a 10 by 10 grid and you had to play within those boundaries. That's potentially a home rule you could make. There are a lot more fields than that. I don't know why it's only showing me this one. So let's look at the achievements. Now, yeah, I've played 10 matches and I've won 4, but 3 of those I think have been tutorials. And so I have played about 7 matches, I think, for real, and won 1. The stats here, too, it's kind of weird that it's just lifetime points, finish roads, finish monasteries, but nothing for fields being counted. Like, I'm trying to scroll or drag to see if there would be more information or more stats somewhere else, but it's not the case. Metropolis was completing a city that is at least 10 tiles. Notice that this is a general Carcassonne achievement, but it was way easier, I think, by doing the paid for DLC expansion. Earn at least 120 points in a match. Occupy more fields than any other opponent. We had already gotten. Play the river expansion we'd already gotten. I think you're a wizard. Earn at least 120 points a match is the only real score one that matters. But if you were really going to try and get all these achievements, also you'd have to play you'd have to win 60 public matches online. That is a lot of Carcassonne to play. Most of these Asmodee board games are not that interesting that you would really go that route. And we scored all 3 goals. Goods. And this is the DLC we're doing right now, not this one. This is the Princess and the Dragon expansion. Earn the pig bonus in 5 games. We've got 1 there. Play 50 double turns. Score 10 points with wine. Score 10 points with cloth. Score 10 points with the crane. So we made progress towards all of those. This DLC we didn't do too much with as far as making progress towards that. And I don't think there's slow progress being made on some of these others. Complete 40 cities. Place a meeple in the field 35 times. Yeah, I think in less than 10 hours you could probably get most of these achievements if you just played it a lot, but winning 60 public games might very well just be a total nightmare. Because remember, there may be 250 people online right now, but they might be pro Carcassonne players. So you very well may have a very different experience online compared to playing the AI. And even this is going to get fairly crazy now. We're going to have 4 expansions enabled. I wouldn't be surprised if we started like over 100 tiles, 125 tiles because of these expansions. Okay. Let's put that one down. And I'm a little surprised they split it this way as far as people. Can I put the abbot somewhere? No, I could put the doubler somewhere. Yeah, it's going to be a tough thing to just remember how this all works. Like, there's so many different items and varieties. And if you're not going to give personality to the tiles, you could definitely give personality to the meeples. To some extent, like, yeah, I could definitely see writing some backstory, and even in the digital versions, talking about how the abbot is this important person, or the pig is this important person, or the the double sized meeple has a name. In a funny way, this is one of these games that feels like it's made by some on the spectrum video game or board game designer that doesn't really relate to human beings too much, since there's just no personality in this. Okay. We might as well put that guy down. I don't know if that's gonna get me extra points. Nope. It really didn't. The river should have a name other than just being called the river. There's definitely room for some education. That's something Minecraft tries to focus on too, is whenever they add a new element, they want to see if they can be educational around that idea or any new element, instead of potentially just adding things for no reason. So when they add a new stone that you can mine in Minecraft, it's based on a real world stone. Or when they add a new item, they'll give it a more eclectic name so that there's a new vocabulary word you can learn instead of calling it something very, very generic. So every river could be randomly, particularly in the digital version of the game, could be assigned the name of a river once it was put down or created, just through a random list of all the rivers in the world. Every city could be given a random city name or ancient city's name. So like when this city is finished, it could be called Babylonia or Mesopotamia or Rome. Just anything, so there's a little bit of education there. Even fields have names. A lot of them do. Enough that you could make a quick database and a quick Google search to add more personalization to it. It might be a little annoying if the game asks you directly to name a river, but like if it popped up a screen and asked you to type in the name of the river, that would be a little silly. I kind of wonder if there isn't some value to potentially trying to make something that is a digital sequel to Carcassonne. Something that could go on forever, that you would put a lot more time and effort into. A city that you could just every day come back to and grow even larger, improve. Much like a lot of the city builder wait cell phone games that exist, where you take an action and then you have to wait 24 hours before that action fully solidifies, even though those games tend to be pretty bad anyways. It might have been a thought, certainly, to keep a game like this in somebody's mind so that they'd come back to it and play it on occasion. What you could do, certainly, is have people play the regular versions of Carcassonne, and with every regular version you then get to pick a tile to grow your ultimate city and make it bigger, and it just gets bigger and bigger and goes on forever, and it's just like a visual reward system. Or you even add perhaps a system on top of it where you are, let's play this, I guess. You add a system on top of it where your giant city becomes becomes your online profile that fights against other online giant cities, and you work your way up a online player versus player asynchronous like ladder to be the best giant city developer that exists. Yeah, something like that would be pretty cool, and that would be certainly something that you could only do as part of a larger video game, not something that you could just do physically. Unlocked another achievement. Of course, I need to remember about the resources here. Nothing kind of matters unless we get most of the resources. All right. Double value. Putting that there, or just place that. I could also see, oh, I forgot about these, a tutorial mode or single player mode where you slowly unlock tiles. Like, if the game literally started with only straight lines as a tutorial, straight lines and a end on one side and an end on the other side, and you played a very short game that way, and then that unlocked curved lines, then you played a game that way and that unlocked other kinds of curved lines, or the three-way splits. You could at that way have a longer single player tutorial experience that would focus, I think, a little bit more on let's see if it would focus, I think, a little bit more on making sure you've played each tile at least once and really saw some value in each tile. Whereas it's very easy normally to just ignore the fact that the straight line tiles exist and that they're as important as all the other tiles. It's very easy to just kind of become obsessed about playing city tiles, for instance, and making cities, and never have the experience to know the value of making roads, or vice versa. And since this is a game that I think is probably for younger kids, considering it has no words, and I wouldn't be surprised if it has no words though, actually, not because it's trying to be particularly kid friendly as much as it has no words because it's trying to sell itself in multiple locations without having to write a bunch of different language instructions. That's something that honestly I'm not sure ever actually needs to be done, and it's probably just laziness and cheapness, selling a game for as much profit as possible, I'm sure. Um, but why did I not get my abbot back? No, I did get the abbot. He's just over there. Do I want to place this here? Yeah, we'll do it anyways. But yeah, I can imagine you can pretty easily these days write a story for a game and have it cover multiple languages and it not being anywhere as big a hassle as people might make out. I'm gonna put the builder here. Digital, particularly when a game becomes popular enough that you could have a digital version of the game, that's when you would want to potentially double down and put some new life into it. I just saw, for instance, the game Munchkin has a reskin for the Batman, so the characters are Batman characters instead of generic fantasy characters. And there definitely feels like there's some extra value with that. And in that license, you don't have to write as much story because very few people don't know who Batman is. But you probably are going to bring some percentage of a new audience to your game that way. Let's see. Can I close this off for resources? I think we have to hope that works. You could, without writing each single meeple as a character, you could call the red meeples the Rouge clan, for instance, and that'd just be French for red. And then like the green meeples, say the swamp people, the swamp dwellers, and then the let's see, what other colors would you have? Pink meeples could be something like flower power, tribe. Just give them some generic name like that. Should I do that? Or should I do this? I think we just want to make it easy to close off this section. In the hopes that people will. Although this is still open, so it's gonna be a nightmare. Oh, and I get a double move? Ooh, which means I can close off the section and give myself the reward and keep them out of getting the reward. And the other places I could play would be minimal reward. Oh, I think I have lucked out there. Do I want to put something here? Might. See, I closed that off and I got the reward where he got 6 points. The idea of closing things off and getting an instant reward in the elements actually helps the gameplay quite a bit, because without that element in that expansion, you have no motivation to ever help your opponent close off a city, and it just creates the cities to get crazier and larger. Okay. If I play this here, I don't think I have anything. I think your best bet is to play this here. And probably just take this back at that point. Try to gain a little bit more points with the abbot before the game ends. So yeah, unless you're playing a house rule, like I suggested, that you have to play within a 10 by 10 grid or even an 8 by 8 grid, or you have to complete a square before you can play on the outer ring, unless you can't play on the inner ring. Like, those would all be potential things. Okay. Is there a place I could place the abbot where it would be surrounded by a bunch of stuff? Yeah, this doesn't look bad. Take that. Can't place the abbot. It's probably worth it just to put it here. And it's just gonna touch that one city. But yeah, if there was a rule that made you play on the inner circle if you can, and then only to the outer circle outside of that if you can't, then you don't have as big or as wide of a table design as this is going to turn out to be. Like, you also are running into a problem here where at best you would have slightly bigger than an 11 by 11 grid of pieces. If we play more expansions, you're going to have so many pieces that it's questionable what tables or how many tables would actually be able to hold all of that. Is there any way we could claim a field or close something off and get resources? This would never close off. I don't know where my worker is. I think he's stuck here with little chance of anything happening there. So I think your best bet is to put it here. Yes. Can't do anything with this. Don't want to do anything with that. we'll do something with that. Well, that may have grown my field even more. It did. That's a giant city. And it closed off around the cathedral, so it's going to give large amounts of rewards to people. In fact, so much of a large reward that it's questionable we can win around to that. Let's see. Okay. I could make a city here. I could try and close this off in some weird way, which might be necessary, but it's just not going to happen. It wouldn't get me a double play if I did that. I could try to close this off, which that's not likely to happen either. I think you take the, you just take the victory, and we'll just put the double here. Yeah, unless I get all the resources to get a 30 bonus and get a massive amount of scores. I don't think... See, that's like a dead space now. So, highly unlikely that I'll go from 39 to over 107 in the scoring. But maybe we could shoot for third place and just be happy with the progress we did. Yeah, it is getting very, very crazy with all these expansions. I imagine practically nobody plays more than 2 expansions at a time, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they play the Abbot in the River and 1 expansion at most, because the river itself is not that much of an expansion and the Abbot is not that much of an expansion. Yep, it is definitely a race for third, it feels. Gardens are just monasteries. Parts of cities. I am definitely lining up to, even though having a fairly high score at 50, I've lined up to potentially be in the last place. Goods. Give me 10 points. Fields. Well, that did bump me up to third. But obviously I had an overemphasis on fields. If anything, I think it points out and shows where the pig is not going to save you. So, for roads, I was in the middle. For monasteries, I was at 0. For gardens, I was the best, which I guess highlights that gardens don't pay off enough. For cities, I was in the middle, but getting blown out of the water by the top 2 people. For goods, I got 10, where this person got 30, so I tied for having the most amount of one good with this person. So if we had taken away 30 from this person and given me 30, and given me 20 more, then it would be at 101 versus 119. Still not really affecting this end. Fields, I was the second best, and still that wouldn't have saved the day. I was just outplayed in, I guess, the monasteries. In the cities. No, I was definitely outplayed in the cities element. Alright, well, these episodes are getting a little bit longer each time because the games are getting a little bit more complicated, but not terribly. And yeah, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.